Welcome to Moons and Meridians. In today's practice, we'll be synchronizing with the full moon in Virgo. Before we begin, take a moment to make sure that you have the following props available: a yoga mat, a bolster, one block, and one blanket. Please take a moment to grab these items, and we'll meet back on the mat shortly. Let's now move into our first yin shape. We'll continue seated in Sukhasana, so please feel free to grab any additional props if they'll support you to be here for some time. Before we actually move into our first shape, I'd like to invite you to find a couple of seated cat-cows to bring some energy through your spine. You can bring your hands to your knees or anywhere where they land comfortably. And as you inhale, draw your chest and your heart forward. And as you exhale, round your spine, draw your chin to your chest, and release all of your breath. Twice more. Inhale to fill up and open. Exhale to round and release. One more time on your own. Inhale. And exhale. Let's move into our first shape. Inhale and lengthen your spine from earth to crown. On your exhale, use your core muscles to begin to twist your rib cage to your right, any amount. Free your hands as you do this, and then land your right hand behind your hip, grounded into the earth, and then cross your left arm over with your left hand resting on your knee. Coming into a simple seated twist. Inhale and lengthen your spine up towards the moon. On your next exhale, find a little bit more space. Another deep breath in. This time on your next exhale, drop your left ear to your left shoulder. We're going to be here for just a couple of minutes. So find a stretch in your neck that's workable for your body. Relax your jaw. And relax any tension in your left hand, arm, or shoulder. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. I'll invite you to cleanse and clear the small intestine meridian using the power of intention and visualization. On your next inhale, draw breath from the earth through your little finger, up through your arm and elbow and shoulder, your neck, your face, and coming into the front of your ear. As you exhale, imagine the energy moving back down and out in the direction that it came in. Again, using the power of your breath and visualization to clear and cleanse this subtle body energy channel, allowing for greater vitality and joy to be present in your life. And do this a couple of times on your own. Continue to relax and surrender into this shape. We can direct our conscious mind to look for and scan and take inventory of spaces in the body where these micro contractions might be resisting the flow of energy. Continue to breathe and notice. Take one more deep breath in this space. And exhale, release your breath. Now stay in the twist, but draw your chin to your chest by coming back down to the midline. Through the midline, staying in the twist, lift your head. Take a deep breath in. Lift your back arm, your right arm, and on your exhale, cross your right arm over your left and let your palms hug your shoulders. And we'll begin to move into what I like to call an infinity hug. Flow side to side and explore this curvy shape in your shoulders with the infinity symbol. Allow for the gentle compression of your arms and your shoulders with movement and breath to create mobility in your shoulder joints. This creates more freedom in this space and flow of energy. Keep your embrace, but come back to the midline. Inhale and let your gaze look up, your heart open, extend your spine. And exhale, curl in, round in, release your breath. Again, let's do this a couple more times. Inhale, lifting your elbows any amount. And exhale, curl in. One more time, inhale. And exhale, round in. Release your hands to your sides and inhale your arms up overhead. Palms come to touch. And exhale your hands in front of your heart for Anjali Mudra. Let's flow right to the second side. So with your hands free, use your core muscles gently to begin to rotate your torso, this time over to your left side. Place your left hand behind your hip, ground it down into the earth, and cross your right arm across your body with your hand landing on your knee or anywhere where it comfortably lands. Inhale, ground down to lengthen up. On your next exhale, find just a little bit more rotation. Again, inhale, lengthen your spine to the moon. This time on your exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. You can walk fingertips out to the side or back any amount that will help to create an opening through your neck and the top of your shoulder. This starts to get into some of the points of the small intestine meridian that run through the side of the neck. Try exploring some micro movements until you find your safe edge. Once you found your safe edge, I invite you to land into stillness. Allow for stillness to wash over you as you breathe. Without any efforting of moving your body, allow for your conscious mind now to scan your body and notice if there's any areas that are clenching or holding on. Becoming aware of these spaces is the first step in releasing the tension. So often tension in our body is chronically created through unconscious patterns of movement and ways that we hold ourselves in various postures. And unknowingly, we thwart and block the flow of life through various areas of our body through these patterns of clenching and contraction. As we slow the momentum of movement in our body, we create more space in our mind as well. And in that space, we begin to see more of what's present. Take one more deep breath here in this space. Stay in the twist, but draw your chin to your chest. So round your head through the midline. Staying in the twist, lift your head back into the initial twist. Deep breath in, lift your left arm up. On your exhale, cross your left arm over your right, coming back into the infinity hug. Aim for bringing your palms to the back of your shoulder blades, but allow them to rest wherever they land, even if it's just the top of your shoulders, just to connect more deeply in with the small intestine meridian. And then begin to weave the sacred shape of the infinity symbol through your shoulders, just curving and rounding and breathing. Invite yourself to explore this movement as you embrace yourself, embracing your shoulders, freeing your neck, freeing your upper body, and allowing for this space of your body to be open and fluid and receptive. Come back to the midline and we'll try some movement up and down by lifting your elbows up to the sky. Find some extension in your spine. As you exhale, round inward, releasing all of your breath. Again, a couple more times like this. Inhale to open. And exhale, moving inward. One last time like this. Inhale. And exhale, release. Release your hands down by your sides and inhale your arms up above your head. Exhale with your palms together back in front of your heart for Anjali Mudra. Before we move on, I'd like to introduce you to a fascial stretch for your neck. To do this, you're going to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And first, I'm going to introduce you to the line that we're going to be looking for. There's a muscle in your neck, it's called the SCM muscle, and it's considered to be the psoas of the neck. It's an important space to clear the energy, and there's often a lot of trigger points that can lead to headaches and just general neck and upper body tension. So we're going to clear that. Take your hand and like you're gently pinching with your fingertips, you're going to feel for a muscle that becomes available when your neck is bent this way. So this muscle, the SCM, runs just under the jawline underneath the ear to your clavicle. So you're going to feel for that muscle just so that you're aware of where it's at. And now bring your fingertips or your palm or really whatever will fit to the space of the top of the muscle, just under the jawline, under the ear. Take a deep breath here. Press your fingertips into this space, and as you exhale, as you keep pressing, now draw your left ear to your left shoulder as you glide your hand down and away towards your clavicle. You might feel a strong sensation or it might just be mild. Let's do that again. Drop your right ear, take your fingertips and press into the space. As you exhale, you're going to press and lengthen, opening up this fascial line. Let's do it one more time. Inhale. Press and lengthen as you exhale. Let's do it on the second side. Drop your left ear to your left shoulder and take your right hand and feel for the space underneath your ear where the jawline meets that space. Deep breath in. This time exhale, drawing your right ear to your right shoulder, gliding down and away from your neck. Again, bend your ear to your shoulder, press your hand into the space. So essentially, you're shortening the space as you inhale. And as you exhale, you're lengthening. Let's do this one more time. Take a moment to become aware of any sensations that you might feel in your neck, in your upper body. When you're ready, we'll transition into a tabletop position. If you're practicing on a hardwood floor, I'd recommend to grab a blanket to place under your knees to support you being here for a few minutes. We'll meet in tabletop position with your knees under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. On your next inhale, plant your right hand to the earth and lift your left arm to the sky. On your exhale, dive your left arm underneath your torso and over to the right any amount, coming into a twist. Your right arm can either reach up overhead, or you can bind your right arm behind your back, bending at your elbow. If neither of these two options are workable for your shoulder today, just go ahead and rest your right arm along your side, wherever it lands comfortably. Find your safe edge, and then surrender into the shape. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. As we work with the small intestine meridian to help bring greater vitality into its physical function as the organ that helps with our digestion, we also help to support its energetic and emotional functions as well. The small intestine is paired with the heart meridian, and so energetically and emotionally, there is a lot of overlap between the two. So when the chi is flowing and there's balance in the small intestine, one would be more apt to feel love and joy and warmth and excitement and have vitality. Specific to the small intestine, however, is that when it is balanced, there's a greater ability in making decisions and having clarity of thought. This relates to the idea that our second brain is actually in our gut. Carolyn Meese, a world-renowned author and teacher in all things energy healing, suggests that our capacity to access intuition comes from our gut. This is aligned with the adage of having a gut feeling. There's a large body of information that suggests that our capacity to have mental clarity, as well as access things like intuition, comes from our capacity to have a healthy gut or microbiome. Continue to breathe and release any resistance in this shape to allow for greater flow of energy to restore vitality to your being. Take one more deep breath in this space. And exhale to release. If your hand is bound behind your back, unwind your arm and return both hands underneath your shoulders. And very slowly unwind back into a tabletop position. Maintaining this level of openness and relaxation. And we'll move to the second side. Plant your left hand and reach your right arm up to the moon. Exhale, dive your arm under your torso and reach your arm into a twist, any amount. You can explore reaching your arm up overhead or bend behind your back, or just rest along your side. Choose an option that will support you to be here for a couple of minutes. Take the first few moments to work out any fidgets, finding your safe edge. Here I like to check in with my hamstrings and my glutes and my lower body. As I'm working to create an opening in the upper body, sometimes there can be a gripping in this space. So check in with your own body and notice if that's happening. Because our fascial network connects our entire body, if we're gripping in any one place, it's going to impact the whole. And remember, part of this practice is to induce the flow of energy by releasing resistance and allowing for an opening and unwinding in the fascial network of the body. The fascia is the riverbed to the meridians. As we release tension and blockages in any of these physical pathways that we're focusing on in each particular shape, it allows for not only the release of tension in that area, but again, restoring greater vitality to the associated organ. Some of the clues that one might experience if there's imbalance in the small intestine meridian might be feelings of mental deficiency due to the inability to assimilate ideas. That might lead to insecurity or forgetfulness, or an unclear thought process or indecision. Those who have a gluten intolerance often will have these same experiences or symptoms, which are an example of an imbalance in the small intestine meridian. Again, focus on bringing breath and surrendering into this shape to allow for the wisdom of your body and breath to restore yourself back into alignment and harmony. Deep breath in. Deep breath out to release. Continue with a rhythmic breath as you explore yourself in this shape. Take just one final breath in this shape. And exhale to release. If your arm is bound behind your back, unwind it. And draw your hand underneath your shoulder, both hands underneath your shoulders. And we'll meet again in tabletop. Sit back on your heels for just a moment for a decompression and let your hands reach behind you. As you draw your shoulder blades on your back, lift your heart to the moon, and if it's available, let your head fall back to take one deep breath up through the midline, opening your heart. And then exhale, draw your chin to your chest. We'll come back to neutral. We'll be using our blanket for this next shape. Fold in a large rectangle like this, and then roll it up. You may need to play with the size of the roll as we move into this next shape, so just know that you might need to unroll it slightly, but we'll start with rolling it up. Next, we'll be moving on to our belly and draping our belly over the blanket. And so your blanket is going to make contact below your rib cage right into your abdomen. So you can start by landing on your forearms and just settling into this space, getting out any wiggles, lengthening your legs down along the mat. But what we're aiming for is to allow for the blanket roll to create pressure into your abdomen. If you're feeling a lot of pressure here and you're on your forearms, come out of this shape and unroll your blanket any amount so that it's not as intense in your belly. And if you're not feeling as much sensation and you can go further, you can come down and use your forearms as a pillow. Let your head turn in either direction that feels good. And we'll just be here for a minute as you breathe and allow for this gentle compression to bring extra blood flow and attention to the space in the organs. Scan your body and make sure that you're not gripping or holding anywhere. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. As much as you can relax into this shape, know that there can be interesting sensations in the abdomen when pressure is put on the organs and in this space. As long as there is not any sharp pains or anything that is excessively uncomfortable. So allow your breath to fill your belly and connect in with this prop as an ally to reduce tension and allow for your organs to glide in the space of your abdomen rather than get sticky and stuck. I invite you to take 3 more deep breaths on your own as you continue to surrender into this shape. Wherever you're at, we'll meet in one final breath in this shape. Deep breath in. And a full exhale to release. To come out of this shape, draw your hands under your shoulders. Press into the earth and use your core to lift your hips, to come back into a counter pose of Anahatasana. We'll use the blanket roll to rest the forehead. As your hands reach up overhead, you're going to widen your arms just the right amount to let your shoulders open and your head melt between the gates of your shoulders. Rest your head on your blanket roll and let your heart melt to the earth. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Couple more breaths on your own here. To come out of the shape, slide your hands back underneath your shoulders, back into a tabletop position. And we'll come to a seat. We're going to move into a seated forward fold called butterfly. Find your way to your seat, and we're going to use the blanket roll as it is to support you in this shape. Bring the soles of your feet together and then draw them as close to your body as it's workable for you today. You'll take your blanket, and the middle of the blanket is going to align where the soles of your feet connect. And then the outer edges of the blanket roll are going to wrap around your ankle to support your ankles on the earth like this. If there is strong sensation on your inner thighs or anywhere in the shape, you can bring blocks to the outsides of your knees to support you. And we'll start with just bringing the hands to the earth here. Begin to let your lower body settle. And very slowly, as you're ready, extending forward from your heart, you can walk your hands forward any amount, and maybe even widen them as you come into this forward fold. This might be helpful to have your bolster or any other prop to support your forehead if needed for this shape. Otherwise, you can explore the space of gravity as you come into your safe edge. Deep breath in. And a full exhale to release. Release the back of your neck, your jaw, any gripping through your hands, your elbows, your arms. Allow for your body to hang heavy in gravity. Again, always working with your safe edge. If there's too much sensation, either come out of the forward fold or bring support underneath your knees. Continue to work with your breath to open the space of the body, allowing for greater vitality, greater flow of energy. As we practice under the full moon in Virgo, it can be helpful to understand aspects of this astrological sign and how they might relate. Virgo is an earth sign that rules physical health. And so this is a fantastic time to bring attention, awareness, and establish good habits, both in physical wellness as well as in diet. Because Virgo also rules discrimination and service and synthesis, we can think of this as being the act of service to a higher being so that we can then be in higher service to others. We can be discerning of our choices to align with a higher order, and then synthesize and integrate these choices so that they become a way of being rather than just an idea. Take a deep breath into this space. And a full exhale to release. Continue to be in this shape in exploration as you find stillness and space for the next couple of minutes. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you've reached areas that are resisting being here, either in your physical body or your mind, allow that to be woven into your practice as your practice. Noticing the tendency to resist discomfort or new levels of growth. Often discomfort that we feel in our physical body is directly related to the level of resistance that we are applying. When we can observe if we can practice non-resistance, often the levels of sensation of discomfort dissolve, and we can explore even more space to drop into in these shapes. This practice, of course, translates into a way of being. We begin to have a greater capacity for discomfort in life or inconveniences without getting contracted around them. We can allow for the ebb and flow of life to exist as it does without reacting to it in a way that thwarts the flow of life through our being. And take just one more deep breath in this space. Stay in the shape as you exhale and release. To come out, slowly walk your torso up, maybe pressing your hands down into the earth. And then bring your hands to the outsides of your knees and use the strength of your arms rather than your inner thighs to draw your knees together to the midline. Take your blanket out from underneath your legs and set it aside. And now extend your legs long on the mat. The counter pose from that forward fold is to open. So extend your legs, and if it feels good to bring some movement in your legs, your ankles, you can explore that. Bring your hands behind your back. If you can, rotate your fingertips facing towards you. Try that and draw your shoulder blades onto your back, lifting your heart. And notice how this brings a nice stretch through the front of your body. And if it feels good, explore extending your neck with your gaze looking up to the moon. Deep breath in. The full exhale to release. Either stay here for another breath, or you can come into a reverse tabletop to find even more of an opening and counter pose here. So you'll bend your knees, your feet will be about hip width apart, your hands will be underneath your shoulders, your fingertips pointing towards you, and then you'll lift your hips up any amount. Your head can drop back any amount. You can move side to side and just explore an opening here with a little sahaja in this shape. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. For our next shape, we'll be using our bolster, but you might also find it helpful to have a blanket and a block handy. Place your bolster lengthwise in the upper right corner of your mat, and then come into a tabletop position. Lift your left knee and drag it back slightly so that you have space to now drag your right knee in between your hands any amount. We're moving into a supported pigeon. Here's where your blanket or block might come in handy. If you find that you're rolling far off to the right in your hip, you can tuck your blanket or a block underneath your hip to support your hips being more balanced. If here is where you're feeling a lot of sensation, this is where your shape is going to be today. If this shape does not feel available for you today, the modification is to come onto your back and come into a figure 4. You'll cross your right ankle over the top of your left thigh and clasp your hands behind your left thigh, drawing your thigh as close to you as is available today. For those of you who are coming into pigeon, set your arms and hands up in a way that allows you to use as little effort and energy to be here. For those of you who are not feeling a lot of sensation here, you can explore coming down either on your forearms with your bolster or draping your torso on your bolster all the way down. You want to make a choice that is sustainable for you to be here for a couple of minutes. So practicing that Virgo discernment, what is going to support you today? Find your way into whatever version of the shape will support you today. Make any adjustments with any of the props as needed, as well as with your body. And then once you find your safe edge, begin to commit to stillness. As we move into this different region of the body and the hips, we can recognize how the body repeats itself in different areas, such as the feet and the hands mirror each other, the lower legs and the forearms, the elbows and the knees, the upper arms and the thighs, and then in this case, the hips and the shoulders. Remember the line of the small intestine and how it passes through the back of the shoulder. This reflexively is what we're working with in this shape in the back of the hip. So the two support and relate to each other. As well, we have the opportunity to work with any stored energy in the hips to allow for there to be a release and dissolving of whatever is ready to transform and transmute today. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. What is it that you are releasing during this full moon cycle? Take a deep breath into that. And a full exhale to let it go. Continue to ride the rhythm and wave of your breath, weaving it through your being as you continue to release any resistance, both in body and mind. Check in with your jaw and any other areas of the body that might be holding as you continue to commit to stillness and in breath, inviting in space. Be gentle with yourself. Continue to hold the space for yourself and your being to process any tension, emotion, or otherwise energy that is ready to release. This helps you establish a better coherency within your being, where you begin to access the higher levels of being, the higher states of emotions, and the type of behaviors and thoughts that are in service to both yourself and others. Take one final deep breath in this space with a full exhale to release. To come out of this shape, start by drawing your hands underneath your shoulders and press your torso up. You can tuck your back toes under and either lift your hips up and back for downward dog, or you can draw your hips up just enough to drag your right knee back into a tabletop position. In either down dog can be your counter pose, or if you're in tabletop, you can just extend your right leg back and tuck your right toes under to stretch out your leg. Just allowing for that compression to now bring greater flow and unwinding to your lower body. Feel free to move about and guide the energy in any way that you intuitively feel called. One more deep breath here. And exhale. If you used props underneath your hips and if they need to move to the opposite side of your mat, please do so now. We'll move the bolster over to the upper left corner of the mat. From tabletop, draw your right knee back just enough to bring space to drag your left knee across into pigeon. Your left knee will come between your hands. You can rock side to side and get a sense if bringing a padding of some sort, whether a block or a blanket underneath your left hip, will be helpful. And maybe your pose is here today, upright. If you're feeling a lot of sensation in your hips, practice that healthy discernment, making a choice that's sustainable for you today. If you have more room to explore today, you can either come down on your forearms using the bolster, or you can place your bolster at a diagonal and start to drape your torso on the bolster. I encourage you to find a version of this shape that allows for your entire body to relax and feel supported. So checking in with your shoulders, really all of your body. How can you be supported to be here rather than holding yourself here? Using as little effort and energy as needed. And once you find yourself into your safe edge and the version of this shape that's sustainable, then commit to stillness. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Continue to draw a rhythmic breath into your being. What do you notice is present for you in this moment? What is present in your physical layer? In your energetic layer? Your emotional layer? Your mental layer? And your spiritual layer? Notice if you feel a connection to each of these aspects of yourself. You may feel more connected to certain layers than others. Just notice. Take a deep breath and a full exhale. Continue to breathe. Take just one more deep breath here in this space. With a full exhale to release. To come out of the shape, draw your hands under your shoulders and lift your torso up. Tuck your back toes under and either press your hips up and back into downward facing dog, or lift your hips up just enough to slide your left knee back into a tabletop position. If it feels good, you can extend your left leg from here and play around with some intuitive movement, both in this shape or in downward facing dog. One more deep breath here. And exhale to release. Before we move into Shavasana, We're going to bring a little love into the front of our hips and our sacral area. We'll use the bolster as a prop to support this. Bring your bolster close by and then find your way onto your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Lift your hips and then tuck your bolster under your sacrum like this. Your hands can rest along the sides of the bolster for a little bit more support and stability. As your feet hover, let your kneecaps point towards the sky. Take a deep breath in here. On the exhale, let your knees fall to the left side. Inhale back to center, and exhale to the right. And now you can follow your own breath wave, inhaling back to the center, and then rock side to side like a windshield wiper. And I'll encourage you to move as slow as you can, slowing down your breath, igniting just a gentle twist here, both in your abdomen and your spine, moving intentionally and slowly with your breath. Wherever you're at, do this one more time on each side. When you're complete, we'll meet back in the midline and let your feet come down to the earth. You can explore extending both legs long onto the mat, coming into a starfish shape. If this brings too much sensation anywhere in your low back or your hips, you can try doing this one leg at a time by bending one knee and having one hand rest on your knee. And then we'll switch sides. Whatever version of the shape you're in, settle yourself down into the bolster and encourage your breath to fill your lower abdomen. Whatever shape you are exploring today, continue to bring breath and surrender into your shape. If you're working just one leg at a time today, go ahead and switch your legs. And again, find your breath. We'll meet in one final deep breath in this shape. Deep breath in. Full exhale to release. To come out of the shape, bring your hands back to the sides of the bolster. Bend both knees, and then let your feet hover off of the mat with your kneecaps pointing towards the sky. Make any adjustments to your back body, lengthen your neck. And this time just gently rock side to side, a little bit more swiftly than before, to bring a gentle massage into your sacrum and lower body. Deep breath. And then exhale your feet down to the mat. From here, you can either just lift your hips up off of the ground and slide the bolster low enough to drape your knees over for Shavasana. Or if you'd prefer to be directly on the earth, you can lift your hips up, slide the bolster off to the side, and come down to the ground. Choose whatever option will support you today. It's helpful to bring a blanket over your body if you're in cooler temperatures to reduce the distraction of being cold. Feel free to bring any and all props that will support you in being in Shavasana for a number of minutes, uninterrupted. Once you've found your way down to the earth and are settled, begin to bring your awareness to your feet. Relax your feet, your ankles, your lower legs, your knees. If it feels good, you can even widen your feet to create more space for the energy to flow. Relax your thighs, your hips. Feel or sense your sacrum resting into the earth. As your organs begin to relax and float, your spine relaxes, your chest and shoulders, your arms, your wrists, and your hands all relax. Relax your throat, your jaw, and feel or sense your teeth relaxing in your gums as your tongue relaxes. Feel or sense your sinuses opening. Your ears relax, your eyebrows widen. Feeling space sweep across your forehead. Your cranium relaxes. Your eyes grow heavy in their sockets. Allow for yourself to completely dissolve into this vast space of silence and stillness. Even allowing for a conscious breath to retreat. Allow for the wisdom of your breath to breathe you as you fully surrender into your Shavasana. Begin to slowly bring your awareness back to taking a conscious breath in and a full exhale to release. Slowly begin to reawaken your body. Some gentle intuitive movements. If it feels good, reach your hands up overhead for a cat stretch. Taking a deep breath in here. And we'll meet on our sides, rolling up into a seat using as little effort as necessary. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, bowing your head, and taking one inhale as a gesture of gratitude for the life-giving medicine of your practice. And exhale, let that go. We'll take another breath in reverence to this full moon of Virgo and for her wisdom, guidance, and energy. Inhale. And exhale, let it go. And lastly, one final breath to acknowledge the deep well of wisdom and healing that lies within you. Inhale. And exhale, let it go. Please feel free to stay and linger in this space of consciousness if time permits. And I thank you for joining me for this practice of moons and meridians. Namaste.